Welcome back, everyone. I'm JTXRP, and today I have a really interesting video for you. We're going to be talking about wallets, trust, seeds, and seed keys, as well as centralization and some issues here. This whole conversation started whenever I had Julian on here, and to you, this video will be the first video you see in the series, as I'm still editing some of the others, and these other videos will be tutorials. So in the process of trying to create these tutorials with Julian about SwissTech and his new, I say new, I'm not sure how long it's been out. It's in beta right now, the DexMachine. I discovered that in order to use this product and service that I had to, and suspend your disbelief for just a second, I had to give my seed phrase, or not my seed phrase, but the seed code to the Dex bot in order to do transactions, because this is a trading bot. And so it uses your seed code to make and do transactions for you based on what you tell the bot to do. And so this was extremely new to me. You know, we always say not your keys, not your crypto. And so this spawned a very interesting conversation between myself and Julian as to all of these things, trust, wallets, and just how secure we are when we say not your keys, not your crypto. You know, we trust different wallets and different services way more than we do others. And I'm trying to dispel a little bit of that for the community and let you know just how things are rather than how they may seem. And so we're going to get into that today. But before we get started, of course, always appreciate anyone who smashes that like button. Of course, you can subscribe. And now even you can also follow me on Rumble. We're now over there as well. So if you want to go and follow me or create an account, many YouTubers are getting cut off and shut down for no apparent reason. So I am hedging, as it's always good to do. But remember, this is not financial advice. This is purely me learning and sharing this education with you all. But Julian, thank you so much for coming back. And of course, to everyone else, it's going to be, you know, this is the first video they see as opposed to the other 2 or so videos we shot together that are going to come later. But yeah, we've unpacked a little bit inside of chat together. And so on your website, you have the ability to generate a wallet, and you recommend creating a new wallet for using your product, because that seed key that's going to be generated on your website is what you need to use inside of Zum and what you're going to put inside of your service. And so I just want to give you a second to help people understand the trading bot and understand a little bit more, maybe the technicals of why that's needed and how the bot works.
Yeah, hey, thank you to host me again and to have this interesting subject. So, yeah, it's exactly something very interesting right now on the XRPL. Why? And because things are like this, and I'm very happy that you asked me also those questions. Because I think there is many people out there needing to understand how it works and yeah, how is the whole model on XRPL based right now, with the apps, with the custody wallets, with the tools, and how this really works basically.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's something for example, for our trading bot, we couldn't do it on another way. So right now we really did it with the seed of the wallet, as our tool has to sign for the trader. So if you don't want to sign all your trades with your fingers, then yes, at some point the tool needs to do that for you. But in order to do that on the XRPL ledger, in order to be you basically replace your manual finger action, then yes, you need basically that code. And then comes the whole question: what is that code? What are you doing on the Xum app? How is it possible that by signing on the Xum, your Xum wallet is operating on the ledger, basically? Yeah. So at some point, it means even your Xum wallet is providing this seed somewhere on the ledger in order to generate a transaction. So yes, that's why we have this model, because we cannot do it on another way. We don't have a solution where someone has a wallet and with a QR code is authorizing the signing of something, But anyway, what is the QR code? So I think in that video we will go through all this. But yeah, we have a seed generator in order to allow people to directly create a new trading wallet, because we found it's important that you create a trading wallet where you hold the funds you want to trade, and that your main wallet where you hold all your funds still have to be more secure. And I don't want myself to give out a seed of a wallet that I'm storing a lot of funds inside, and even less in a tool, or and even if I could avoid to import it in even Xum or any app, I would do it, because the most safest way is to never share that seed, basically.
Yep.
And then comes the point, where did you get that seed?
Yeah. How did you
So
generate it, right? Yeah.
exactly, and I think that's why we make also this video, because in the end, yeah, it's important to really visualize in global what is all that, because what it means to not share your secret keys if at some point it got shared to you.
Yeah.
So can you trust the one who provided you the seeds for your new wallet? Can you trust the one asking you the seed to your wallet in order to execute a transaction? And when you go deeper inside of this, you realize that everything is working basically on trust. Yeah.
Sorry. Yeah, sorry, just real quick, I wanted to jump in. Uh, so everything does work on trust, for sure. I feel like in this video we'll dive into a little bit more about that. But when it comes to your bot, I just wanted to like specify real quick. This is a grid trading bot, because I didn't know about grid trading before I started these tutorials. So very enlightening for myself. I think you'll find it very enlightening. And I'll put some other supplemental videos I've been watching in the description of my future videos, or I'll try to, and if not, remind me. But so this is the first trading bot I've ever experienced. And so I imagine, and I've never traded stocks or anything like that, but I know that grid trading is also done with stocks and other platforms. And I'm sure that you have to give, in these other platforms, you have to give them access to funds to trade back and forth, right? So, and let everyone may be like, oh, well, I'm giving them access to my funds in this different wallet. But you have to realize, even in the traditional markets, this is the case. Either they need access to a bank account, or you need to move funds into their wallets to be able to do this trading for you. So once I actually thought about it like that, this helped me a little bit. Still not fully feeling great, but the fact that like this is normal, it sank in to a degree. So but I wanted
Yeah,
to jump. I just wanted to throw that out there and then get back to the seeds, because you were, when in the chat you were telling me that, like, again, so this is the DexMachine. Just to let you know what we're talking about in the instructions that we're talking about here. This is the, I'm going to zoom in a bit so people can see this, because I can see where it'd be hard. This is one of the generated seed keys. And so whether it's this right here, that's the seed key itself, and if you are creating a Xum wallet, this is the key that is behind all of those seed phrases and what have you, or the numbers that Xum is doing, is what you said, right?
exactly.
So you're creating this for me or for the user, but Xum is behind whatever Xum is doing with those numbers. This key right here, I'm just going to highlight the thing, like, is an example of what is behind those numbers. And
ABC
so
was codes, yes.
yeah, so this is a lot of, you went to trust was the last thing we hit on before I gave my little analogy. And so how can we trust? I mean, this is just being put out on a website, like, and you're generating a new one each time you hit this generate button, if I can, or refresh it. So how is this trustworthy, and how can you give me an analogy to how we view trust with our Xum wallet, for example?
For me, it's very obvious that any device could be hacked, or any device could have an issue. So there was, as I learned it recently, there was already issues with some well-known wallet generator website on the XRPL. where they got issues basically on their website and generated wallets for customers, and those wallets basically weren't very safe.
Mm-hmm.
So the thing is, yes, it's always starting from the point where you are issuing a new wallet inside of XUM, or you are importing it in XUM.
Yep.
If you're doing it inside of XUM, it means you trust XUM that has provided you basically this ABC numbers and system behind where it is basically a seed also. But yes, that means you trust them that they provide you a seed, a wallet, and that only you know that seed and that wallet. We can name GitHub and Bitstamp websites where you generate those wallets, where it's exactly the same. Again, when you generate your wallet, there it means you trust GitHub or Bitstamp website for it. And when you generate it here on the airdrop machine, it means you trust us, the DexMachine team, that our website is safe to generate that wallet. So it's really, honestly, it's about that, because the fact is, every of those websites I just noted can or had at some point an issue, and we never know when things will happen. So I think it's important, yes, that people realize that it's not about giving your seed. It's already about where you get your seed, basically. It's starting way earlier than people think. It's when you set up your wallet, basically, that you already have to be careful. I give an example. I'm going on a trashy website. I'm generating an XRP wallet. I'm importing it. So I'm loading it full of tokens, and one beautiful morning, it's empty.
Oh man.
um,
Oh, this is a nightmare.
yeah,
Oh.
I never shared the seed to anyone. I never shared my keys. And then you obviously know that it's the place where you generated them that have an issue. And so I think it's important that people know that, and that in the end, all the solutions that are around now with custody wallets, which are the rewarding tools, trading tools, NFT platforms, people have always to realize that they are signing transactions, and that at some point the QR signing solution, which is a very genius and nice solution, but it's still a solution in which your seed is used all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Because never forget, those wallets, those apps, those programs, they interact for you on the ledger.
Okay,
So
let's stop there, because me and you were talking outside of this, and I think that I came to a very interesting conclusion whenever you were telling me this, and that is that, like, in order to just sign a transaction, I have to use my seed phrase, or my seed key, like you have here, and I'm just signing a transaction that allows Zum, or whatever wallet I'm using, to use that seed key on my behalf. And so
exactly.
that's, I think everything is magically done on the blockchain for this video. I'm learning. I'm not perfect, everyone. Like, I'm just sharing what I learned here. Hopefully this benefits you. But I thought that my wallet was hosted on the blockchain and on the seed phrase. And so, like, the fact that Zum has a centralized, or any wallet really, you talk about Zum, Ledger Nano, like, these are all
It's
centralized versions of that, of
it's
hosting seed phrases,
yeah.
right?
Yeah, it's in the end, it's each company has a different code, a different way of doing, different ethics and values, has audited it or not. Um, I think Zoom, for example, did everything they could to audit things, to make things as best as they could, and to prove also their good faith. I don't know if it's right in English, but
Yeah, that's right.
I'm really thinking that Zoom is one of those big actors in the XRPL that did a lot to make sure things are sure, and that's why everyone also is using Zoom today. But it doesn't change the fact that, yes, you authorize your Zoom wallet in a crypted way for sure, but you authorize your Zoom wallet to basically sign on the ledger for you. As you're not yourself providing that seed each time, you're not putting all the time your seed inside, or
Mm-hmm.
your ABC numbers, which are again, something pretty same. But as you're not all the time providing your keys to sign, but just your fingerprint, that means at some point you authorize the XUM app or another app, basically, to do that for you.
Yeah.
With your fingerprints. And yes, it's crypted, it's everything, but I'm really not saying anything bad about XUM. XUM did it very well, but it's the architecture of it that has to be understood. The fact that, yes, you are trusting a company that all this thing is going well. And I think that is the important point that people may have to realize today. We talk about decentralization, but in fact, it's few companies developing codes,
Mm-hmm.
and it's let it say like this: if a company decides to run all this on a crypted way during a few years and slowly to start some insider stuff, where basically they have some backdoors, and you never know. It could happen.
Yeah, you never
And
know, but and
as
I just
yeah,
want to make real clear, this is not to FUD XRP. This is not to FUD blockchain. Like, this is simply to talk about the realities of the software that we're dealing with, the capabilities and restrictions that we have that we take for granted, honestly, inside of crypto. And so I just want to make that very clear because, I'm still a huge fan of Zom. I believe Julian is too. Like, but at the same time, it's like these are things I'm learning that this conversation around the seed key opened up for me, and that is that, like, I these services are in itself a weakness that I thought was uh how do I say this? That I thought was automatic through the blockchain. And this kind of popped my ignorant bubble that that's not the case. These
um,
things we're utilizing third-party services to make it easier for us to interact with the
with the
blockchain
ledger.
and with the ledger. So, and
And
that just, yeah, that made me feel instantly like a little less safe, but also way more knowledgeable. So, anyways, Julian, go on. Sorry.
there's even we could say you're right also on the blockchain. I can say an example on Bitcoin during years there were closing encrypting basically the nodes, the blocks, sorry, with an encryption tool. I will not name it because it could give ideas to people. And this encryption tool got corrupted over time. So today you have a sport which is called hacking old nodes, old transaction nodes, because in each node you have the seed of those wallets. So when you are able to not crack old nodes because the encryption tool is corrupted and you can basically decode it,
Mm-hmm.
then you have also the seed of those old Bitcoin wallets. And that's why at some point it become more interesting to attack old nodes by brute force and things than even do mining on Bitcoin. Because when you were able to hack an old address full of Bitcoins, you can mean a long time for that. And the fact is, we realized that all the old Bitcoin wallets that had over, I think at this point it was over 6 years where there was no transaction, it meant that the last transaction were encrypted with a corrupted encryption, which is freaking dangerous. So if
Yeah.
anyone listening that video holds a Bitcoin wallet that is very old and he never did something, please very quickly transfer it to a new wallet, which has an encryption that is on up to date. And the funny thing is on the XRPL, it's quite the same. I mean, a 100% safe wallet is a wallet where you can only hold XRP in that wallet. Why that? It's a wallet where you never sign a transaction. So that means you are setting up a wallet, You are loading it with 10 XRP to activate that wallet, and you're sending XRP over it, but you never imported it in Zoom, in any app. You never signed any transaction with that wallet. And that is a safe wallet
Well,
because
that sounds all nice and good, but that seems utterly useless.
yeah, yeah,
so
it is. So
what services do we trust in the community? There's obviously Zum, which is huge. I've heard Decent being thrown out a couple different times. You yourself, when I was asking, okay, well, I didn't know I could generate a wallet this way, or if I did, it's been a while since I've used a seed key like this in other blockchains, but on the XRPL, I've just used Zum and it's been years and I haven't had an issue. And I really do think they're acting on the best they can. They've been audited several times over. But you also, before we get to, I guess, where can we create a safe wallet, I do want to ask, you mentioned how these transactions were encrypted. And I really want our viewers to understand whenever they go, let's say they're doing a simple trade. I'm going to trade XRP for SwissTech. How When I'm signing that transaction, what happens and what is that I forget the word you use, encryption, that and how does that interact with the seed phrase? Can you walk us through, by the time I slide my thumb or it reads my face, what
I'm
happens?
I'm myself on that point really learning also as we set up nodes and want to become real validators and really basically supporting the network also.
Okay.
So there's many things that I'm not knowing also because it makes a year I'm learning all that on when I'm really talking about the technical stuff. But yes, at some point you sign a transaction, it is somewhere, it is crypted. And as long the encryption of all that is good, then you're good to go. But we can go from the point that today it's cool, but you don't know what is happening tomorrow
Uh-huh.
and which kind of computing force will born or come to life. And we could even talk about quantum
No, that's a whole different
computing.
conversation. We're
Yeah,
not going down that rabbit hole.
but I mean, we come to that point where yes, the fact is it's everywhere,
Yeah.
and it's crypted, and the encryption is often audited or proven that it's not breakable,
Yeah.
but up to the point where it will be, and
Right.
that was with all the encryption tools until now. It was like this. It was safe until the day
It's not.
someone hacked it or someone compromised it, or from that moment it wasn't safe anymore, and then it's always scary. So yes, I think it's a very interesting topic, and I think it's all about, in the end, it's about trust to who are doing those things. And I think if you have a project or a wallet like Zoom, which is I think responsible for large adoption on the XRPL, which is not, I don't know if responsible is the good word, but we could say it's they did a huge part of all that.
Yeah.
If we look at what is XRPL today, I think Zoom, we can thank them. They did a lot, and we had the luck to had a honest company coming up and investing so much energy, time, and money in these security things. And that's
Yeah.
why you never had an issue, and you will never have one. Um, I hope, but
Yeah.
yeah, I truly believe that Zoom is exactly the good example that you can have a company doing all that and still being trust, because the way they do that is the way to go.
Yeah.
But the fact is, yes, it's all about handling seeds of wallets in permanently, basically,
Yeah.
and operating with them.
So when it comes to, like, we have the blockchain, now we know we have these third-party services like Zum that help us to interact with the blockchain. We're trusting our seeds with that. Does that not make them a central point of failure if in fact their encryption fails? And like, because we're talking about if their encryption fails, and I just want to be very clear, if and because we're also going to be talking about your project here in a second, because I want to ask about its security and how it compares to Zum. But if its encryption fails or yours fails, all those seeds and all those wallets, all the money we wake up and it's gone, like you said before. Like, so that makes a decentralized platform centralized, right?
Yeah, I think again, it's depending on how you crypt the things and how basically the whole architecture of the way you think the things and you build them, it's making the difference.
Okay.
Because yes, at some point it's centralized because it's one company developing a website, developing the code, and making that thing sure. But there's ways to make things sure that even an insider job could no more have some impact. So I think that's also what they do, that what every project should do, that at some point you have to be protected to an outside attack, but also to an inside attack.
Yep.
And that's what I really call decentralized, is when even in-house you're no more able to change that.
Okay.
And I think that's the important point. It's yeah, how far you go in that thing, but the fact is somewhere in that steps, it's a decision you take, and it's a way you go. But I'm pretty sure that there's also developers taking the wrong way. It's for me, it's really an audit is there for that. And that's why that's the way I want to go also with our tools. As soon we're done with that beta, I want the third part audit, where really it proves on one way how we did the security behind in order to avoid things. And it's also a perfect moment where you have other experts basically auditing it. So on top of white hats helping you to try and to find breaches and things, I think an audit is really the way to go to prove, okay, that's how it works, and basically it can go wrong.
Yeah. So I just want to make very clear that those that are using this service at the moment of July 29th, 2023, that this service has not yet been your service specifically. We're talking about Zum has been audited. This DexMachine has not been audited. You've done your best on the security, and it is in beta. It is not fully released yet. What is the security like, or how does it stand from your side of things? Because we are, if anyone using this platform will essentially be sharing the access with you and your company to their wallets. I mean, you could just be like, had a bad day, I've changed my mind, screw the XRPL, whoop, everyone's stuff's gone. So
Yeah, in Swiss, I always make jokes with the representative of the financial department. We say it's exile or the jail. So yes, we take it very seriously because I still I'm responsible of what I do, and my biggest nightmare would be to have an issue. So that's why I'm taking a lot of help around me to understand really well what we are doing, and also that there's other steps that for many people are not really known, but which is basically, where is all these things located? Where do you host basically your website, your programs, and things? And if I think it's starting from there, because I'm a paranoid guy, and even if I know if my cloud server would be secure, I would always still scare that the data center that I'm using has still some possibilities to enter and all that. And that's for me an example of Zoom, for example, who have their own huge own hardware, but it's one of the first way you can be sure you have your own data center. It's one of the first way to be already sure that there is not someone else plugging on your server, observing what you do, getting those information. So I think in terms of infrastructure, there's already something to be made, so that you own basically your hardware, that you're sure that no one else has access to that. That's the first step for me. that the people that work with you are also audited in some way. I cannot work with someone from Fiverr from the other side of the world. It's impossible for me. We are decentralized on the blockchain, but we should be as much possible centralized in our teams, because you need to know who are the people working with you, and even more if you have many people working with you. It's if you work in a bank, you have to sign contracts, and they will go through your whole history to make sure they can give you the keys of the bank, and that you will be a good employer of the bank, employee of the bank. So for me, it's the same. It's the infrastructure, the hardware you have has to be your own, has to be in a secure place, has to be, on that part. You need network engineers able to securize your servers. That's really that. Then you need developers that you know, that you physically know, that you can drive with your car, and in 20 minutes you are at his home. That if there is anything, yes, for me it's really serious. If one day I have to fill a complaint about a developer, I will do it. And to avoid that, and to avoid, I know many projects that got screwed up by developers on Fiverr, for example, and things. I could never work on that on a blockchain level where it involves money, security, and things with people you're not having a contract. I don't know how you call that in English, but it's your company paying all that work. So there is also an agreement that those developers cannot use all those things outside of your project. And all those things. And how you say that in English?
I believe it's non-compete.
Exactly. Non-disclosure agreement, something like this.
NDA. Yeah.
And so for me, it's, if you want to set up, we are not even talking about auditing a code. It's for me already the basement of what you build. The foundation has to be strong. It's nothing, you can audit a super code if your developer is a scammer and a hacker. It has no sense, because sooner or later he will be maybe able to do something. So for me, it's having people that you know, that you can trust, that are under agreements, under contracts, that they cannot break, or if they break it, they will pay it hardly. And at least you know who is responsible for it, and you can complain and fill a lawsuit on an identity, and not just on a nickname on Fiverr. So this is the most important thing for me, the hardware. And then, yes, once you have this basically these fundamentals that are strong, then I think you're good to go to product codes with your team that you can consider safe at some point when they audit it. And that's the direction we are taking, basically. Yes, we are now building. It's not finished, but for us, the next step is for sure auditing that. We have already our own servers, but we are really now building a data center. We have a network engineer. It's really his job. We are developers, and network engineer is, again, for me, another world. So really knowing what is security on servers, it's a full-time job to just be there in the data center. And so I think for me, it's that. And having your own data center, good employees, and then auditing your code. With that, you're already on a way where you put a lot of changes that things may go well. And
increase your chances that things will go well.
Opposite would be hiring unknown people, having, I don't know, many different clouds where you host your things, and always the cheapest. So and then I think then you can have issues sooner or later. If it's a simple project, no, but as soon as it involves seeds, money of people, you will have hackers, you will have people interested.
You're gonna be a target.
So
and I hope in making this video I didn't make you more of a target, but I just wanted to make sure that, like, you know, when we talk about these things, we talk about generating wallets, we talk about services like yours, because I'm sure you are not going to be the first service that's going to need to sign a transaction on someone's behalf. Like, as this space develops, this is going to become more of a thing. So And that brings me to my next question is, I know that you've done a lot for your security. I've personally used the bot over the last week and a half or so. And, I've put money in there. It's been fine. I've seen what the bot's done. I can at least attest to what I've seen. Haven't been rugged yet. I don't think Julian's going to do that. But that
And
being
I think,
said, what?
yeah,
Sorry, go ahead.
I I think you will never have that
Yeah.
problem.
Always, I never wanted to say for sure, and that's why the disclaimer's at the start of the video, but I really want to lead people. And Julian, you have a company out of Switzerland. You're trying to do all the right things. You're going where the regulations are currently at and open, which is amazing. And I know that you're connected to some of the strongest people in the XRPL community that have just raved about you. So I just want to throw those things out there. This is why I'm shooting this video with Julian and talking about seed phrases with him. So that being said, if I get rugged, we all get rugged. But I don't think that's the case, is my whole point. And but when it comes to creating a safe wallet, I just want to go back there real quick because we didn't go over where and how to do it. So we covered that the safe wallet is the wallet that never signs a transaction itself that you just send money to. Besides Zum, where else can the community go that is currently trusted? Because I've only used Zum, just full disclosure. I know that you can go to a couple different websites. I believe Gate, one of the ones we were talking about earlier before the video was it GateHub that had the
GitHub,
hack?
exactly.
So I'm not necessarily like going out of my way to trust that, but maybe they've learned and maybe they're doing better.
Yeah,
So
but you name it, they had an issue with that generation thing. So it's not because you are a trusted company with a huge name that never anything will happen, and it's also not meaning that you are a bad company. We are in crypto, we are in codes. There is informatic attacks. You also have corrupted devices. You have maybe viruses that are next level that many people don't even understand. So uh, yes, it's for me it would be difficult. I wouldn't be able to say to someone where is the safest place to generate a wallet, because that would mean I would take the responsibility of telling to people this is it. But you name it, there is bigger projects or blockchains or exchanges who had even themselves issues with that, and that just explains how difficult it is, how much development it requires to really make sure the wallet that is generated is really generated only on the HTML page of that person, and it's nowhere else. But yes, it's still something. I think that is. I would for sure choose important actors like Zoom, GitHub, Bitstamp, and avoid any tiny website or shady generator that is provided by someone who you don't know,
yeah,
basically. For
well,
me, it's always that. Who do you complain after if you have a problem? And if it's a team where you know the company, where you know the team, where you know what they're doing, you also know that in any case, you know who they are. But if it's a website where you don't know who is behind, that's what I would really avoid. Where I would really say red flag. I'm not knowing anything about this generator. I don't know if there's even a company, a team behind, and I'm not trusting that. So it could be very good. It could be very well. That could also be audited in some way and controlled, but it could also be not. And it could be. I think it's today. If you want to scam people, it's very easy. If you want to, you can say it's white, but it's black, and everyone trusts you. It's white, and that's why I think when I always say it, coming back to trust, who do you trust? Do you trust people that you know, that are around, that are invested? For me, the last recent event was, I was really realizing how important it is for me to meet those people and to look them in the eyes, and to realize, okay, that's where things are built. And I think that's where, for example, Zoom did a lot of job by being one of those developers on the XRPL, bringing people together, discussing those points and finding solutions. So that's why yes, I would trust Zoom when it comes to generate a wallet for sure. And all the others, I cannot stand for and say I would rate us. So for the moment, I would trust Zoom. And for the wallet generation, it's a personal stuff. Who do you prefer? What is your feeling? What did you have as information about us? For example, DexMachine, GateHub, others. There is many locations where you can generate a wallet.
Okay.
So it's
well, maybe I'll make that its own video in the future. But for instance, like just to touch on a few things, Zum is now changing their name to Zaman. I don't know why. I'm getting used to the name myself as I say it in every video. So just if we're talking about Zum and you're like, what is that in the future? Zaman is what they're changing their name to. Don't know when they're gonna do it, but it's gonna happen.
maybe because of Elon Musk.
Maybe I have no idea. They had X in their name before that, so I don't know why. But so Bitcoin, I've had a friend who sent me something that was on a billboard in the middle of I don't want to say it was London or Times Square or something. It was advertising, hey, we'll give you 2 Bitcoin for signing up on this, and it had the website. You could go, and then of course it would show you the Bitcoin in your account or something like that, but then you had to put in your more information. Guys, these are scams. Like, no one's going to give you free Bitcoin. No one's going to give you those things. Just watch out for those things. And I have tutorials here that are safe, that if you want to watch them, they'll show you how to go set stuff up, whether creating a Zum account. I'll probably do some tutorials for some of these other sites after I look at them too. But we're talking about, safe custody. Eventually, I'm hoping, I just did a video with Jake from Beyond Broke, and he talked about a polysign solution that, of course, this only works if you have, lots and lots of money. For him, it's if you have over $100,000 in crypto, you can be one of his customers. But he's worked with polysign to where they have a custody solution that has all this encryption and all of this service behind it, so that you can trust it fully. And again, you can go watch that video about it, but that's the safest thing I've heard of. And so I'm comparing everything now to that. So that's next level. I'm hoping that's where we'll get to some degree in the future. But again,
I
I want to
also,
go ahead.
I also, there's something I love to repeat it to people. It's not only who do you trust, it's also your device. Do you trust your device?
Mm.
And I think that's also a thing. I often hear people saying, oh, yes, I copy it manually, but then I take pictures with my phone. Or I'm copying it in my printer. I'm making a
Oh God.
photocopy of it. And people may have to realize that your printer is connected to internet. Put a bill or anything in your printer and you will realize what's happening. Your printer is actually analyzing what you're photocopying, and you are not allowed to photocopy everything. So that's also the thing. Never trust the device, because you also not know if you can trust Samsung or if you can trust Huawei. And for me, I know it's a bit crazy, but if we start that subject, there's so much things that could be in a way a
Untrustworthy.
problem.
Yeah.
Exactly. So and yes, I always write down my sheets by hand. I never take a picture. I'm never sending them anywhere.
Right.
And as soon I can save something as most possible out of a device, I will do it. And that's what I think is also a point that people should understand. That it's also their device. That if you have a hacked computer and that a hacker is seeing what you're doing on your screen, you share it, you see it, you share it everywhere. You generate a threat for him basically also, and same with your phone, and could even have things on network. But yeah, so that's also a thing. If you know that you have a computer that had viruses and things, I wouldn't generate seeds on that desktop. I would clean my computer and make sure my computer is at least saying me everything is fine.
Yeah. So once you go down the rabbit hole of trust, and it's like it's all risk mitigation, right? It's how you can mitigate the risk of making sure that you're not compromised. And so I think the device is a great part of that. So thank you so much for bringing that up. That wasn't even on my agenda. I feel like that's
Yeah,
just
no
gold.
problem.
Um,
Yeah,
so
the subject is so large that I think we even missed important parts and things. And as I said, I'm also not the top expert here. I think there's, for example, people from Zoom that could really go deeper in certain details about, for example, all that encryption things. Even for me, it would be interesting. There is still many questions I have, and how things work between third parties, and how at some point you have some kind of more information, but yes, it's I think it's important, and people don't have to scare. They have to take the right decision and make things well. It's not. I'm not here to food anything. I'm here to really be honest and say yes. There is a whole point to make around it. It's your hardware. It's who you trust, how you handle things. So it's not just one thing. It's few things that
yeah,
you have taken account in order to be as most safe as possible. Let's say it like this.
yeah.
I
I mean,
cannot guarantee to someone what is the 100% safest way, because I don't think there is one
who got you?
right now.
So let's go back to your services, because this is going to be on a playlist at the start of this, and as I make these tutorials, and I've been really interested to see myself. And just again, I on a day I set things up. And again, I can't say financial advice here, but it's just a matter of like my experience has been one day off of the trading bot, I got 8 XRP in a day. I was like, wow, that's crazy. I haven't set up like mining XRP, which you can't do anymore because it never mined, but you were basically mining Ethereum. It would trade you XRP for mining that Ethereum. And the gains are much better for me than that was. So I was like, wow, all right, cool. So, but this is not, how do I say this? I guess I'm going to try to ask you is like, what do you, for this great gain, for this opportunity where you're generating a seed key? We've talked about trust. What is your message to those who are still skeptical, and that, or what would be your advice to them in
Mm,
interacting with your deck spot at this point? And yeah, like for people that are interested in acquiring a deck spot, they know the risks now. They understand that we've talked about seeds and trust. They're now trusting you. But do you have any other advice for them besides setting up this new wallet and only using it for trading that
um,
we've talked about in our other video?
Yeah, my first advice is don't change. If you're skeptical, then you understand the game, because that's how you should approach everything. First, being skeptical, not running into something blindly. So, firstly, I would say to those people, guys, well done. Better wait to be sure, and that's the right attitude, basically. Can I trust it? How does it work? I'm happy if someone comes ask a question, even if it's, "Hey guys, why do you ask your seed?" Ask me. I can really explain it. And to end this, we created a trading tool. We already have a rewarding tool running since over a year, and there's many projects that can be asked that uses since a year or months on a daily basis. And they also need to provide the seed. They all have set up a rewarding wallet where they have the tokens in to reward. I'm also advising them to not store too large amounts on it. Uh, Security first.
Yeah.
So for me, it's really about even how you handle those wallets. So you have a trading wallet or a rewarding wallet. You know that you're giving out the seed on a computer that could even be compromised. So there's many factors where you have to be careful, for sure. And one of the first is using those wallets as operational wallets, and not storing your reserves on it, but saying there is only the funds I do rewards with, and there's only the funds I'm doing trading with. And all my savings are on a wallet where I basically, as less possible, provide keys everywhere, even signing things on apps. And I would simply do as less as possible with those apps, and give as less change to possible to this possibility that something may happen with a device compromised or things like this. So one of the first thing is limiting your exposition, which is acting being responsible. I mean, being skeptical, asking questions, and not having a seed wallet where you throw around the seed everywhere on internet, and and you have all your savings on exactly that account. So I think that's what I would advise to people, to always take this seriously. And when a wallet becomes too big and oh, I'm using that, you can also change your wallet. I mean, I'm a paranoid guy. I do rewarding things, stuff every few months when I did too much videos, and I think there may be something where maybe once I show it the seed, I have demo wallets and things. I'm just resetting the wallet. There's nothing wrong with closing a wallet, setting up a new one. You go on XRPL scan, you can delete it, you got your XRP back, and you generate a new one. So if someone has a doubt or a feeling, it costs nothing to trust your own feelings,
Yeah.
and to just for a safety reason to make an update, like updating your passwords. For me, it's exactly the same. And Zoom did something amazing, which is as soon you have someone else, for example, importing this wallet in his Zoom, you directly have a warning. So I have some shared wallets with my developers for the faucet and things, but yes, it's scary.
Yeah.
Always you see a notification, this wallet is
Hard stuff.
on another device. You see the address and you're like, oh, if it's the developer address, it's normal. I share with him the seed to add it. But then the first time you're always like,
Well, that actually, you bring up a good point. So within one of the things I've done in the trading bot is that I'll look in my Zum wallet. I'll look to see that it's working, because you know, I look at it, I look at the transactions, I actually put on BitHump, I put the address in BitHump, and I'm looking to make sure it's going through. But I also will see those, if anything does happen, I'll also see that access come through as well. So I think that's very important and a very good point in terms of like, hey, if you're going to build trust, you're not receiving those things, those warnings. It also builds trust over time. So I think that's a very important point.
I think,
Um,
yeah, I think more we have disclaimers, warnings, and yes, in some ways, basically scaring the people.
yeah,
But I prefer to scare people, and then they made an advised choice behind,
hmm
fully known with everything, than saying everything is fine, guys, run.
yeah, and that's why I
Uh,
like, I don't like, I could probably put all this somehow in a 10-minute video, but I like the long form content. I think that people who really take the time to understand will appreciate it as well. So if you like it, make sure to smash that like button. Um, and always, you can of course donate to the channel. As you all know, the links are in the description, or they'll be up on the screen somewhere. But it's what am I trying to say here? That was kind of your final thoughts towards them. I have learned a few things in this as well. One, it might be good to, like, Julian said, to have different wallets, but create different wallets different ways, and to make sure that I'm not centralizing the to just Zum. I know maybe I have a Zum wallet, a decent wallet, and a Nano Ledger somewhere. Because even though there's issues that Nano Ledger has said, hey, with this different tool, they're even going to be more open in some ways, and that scared the industry to a degree. So having multiple baskets for your eggs always a good thing.
exactly.
As well as periodically refreshing. I think that was a great suggestion that you mentioned. And
And
one of the
even more if you have an old Bitcoin wallet.
yes, old Bitcoin, for sure, refresh that. I'm not one of those people, but if you are, remember this video, and if you want to, feel free to donate, go ahead. With that being said, I only take XRP. Uh, but what else am I trying to say? A really cool suggestion of this is, if you're going to get this bot, I've actually used Coinly to make sure that, especially if you're in the US, doing a lot of trades, trying to figure that out at the end, taxes can be a huge, huge headache, especially if you're doing a bot trading. So my advice, this is not financial or tax advice, but for me, I want to know that those transactions, the prices are coming through. I want to know that the tokens I'm choosing to trade on, that those prices will be brought into the tool that I'm using for my taxes. Um, and that I'm going to be set to be honest with the IRS at the end of the year, as far as I'm able to with blockchain and where it's at, to give them their fair share. So just, and also what's really cool is that I've learned that for Coinly, for example, I can use Coinly to see where my wallet stands at and their transactions. So that's really cool to me. I don't have to
That's awesome.
check my
Yeah.
wallet. I can see the trades. It's just another avenue to see things at. So I thought that was really
Mm.
cool as well, that I wanted to
Yeah.
share. And if you're
Yeah.
interested in Coinly, I do have an affiliate link now, so that'll be in my link tree. Just heads up. But sorry, Julian, what was this?
Yeah, I think that's something you helped me also to understand. As I'm in Swiss here, we doesn't have these requirements, but I think yes, there may be countries and regulation where a full audit of a year activity is important. So that's also something we will introduce, where a trader can basically get a CSV file and a full backup of his activity. And the idea would be that on top of what you have is that on, for example, end of a year, you can simply take out a CSV file. It's giving you all the tokens and the grids you traded, the benefits you made it on it. And so you basically have you can see that on the ledger, but it would require you to program something where you see how much
Price?
you get
Yeah.
in each transaction, and which we will do with that. And yes, thank you for that, because I was really realizing that many people will need that to legally declare the revenues. So
Yeah.
which we want people to do.
Yes, and Coinly is, again, I think right now is a good interim solution until this is out of beta and you are able to release that feature. But yes, if your tool did it by itself, that would be great. And if other people who are doing stuff could access this tool, like that could be something that on the XRPL that you give access to run a wallet and somehow get that information. I mean, that's something that, Ascension and Reaper don't have, that, like, there's many services that could benefit from that tool alone. So
Sure. I think we did already half of it, because we have already a reward checker who basically it provides you the whole history of the rewards you collect.
oh,
So when
really?
you use our faucet platform and the NFT faucet, there is really my rewards. You click on it, it shows you the whole history of the rewards you claim, which is also something you have to declare in some ways because it's
Yes.
money, and it's showing you on each token and every daily transaction. And there is also something I think the really that people can download the CSV is important, because what you actually need when you make a tax declaration is you need to prove it at some way, and so I think it wouldn't take so long. And yes, as you say, that this shouldn't be even something just link it to the trading tool. It should be something in general where you can load a wallet and ask only the rewards. So for example, incoming transaction or Dex trading transaction. So you could separate both and have really a historic of that. I think it's the way to go.
Yeah. Well, the
And
audit comes first. We want the audit. I'll just let you know, but that sounds like a
yeah.
good next step. But yeah. But anyways, I wanted to thank you. I don't know if you have any last words. I've kind of already asked you that before, but then we got in a tangent. So I really appreciate you coming on. I think this has been great information and a great intro to anyone who is thinking about doing the DexMachine. If you follow the next tutorials, you'll be able to set it up. You'll be able to start understand, and maybe I'll even do some more tutorials as I understand better how to do grid trading. I might do some more of those as well. But I love helping answering your questions. If you do have questions, I'll try to answer them in the comments below. I'm sharing what I'm learning. I'm imperfect. I reserve the right to learn and change my opinion or thoughts. But besides that, um, yeah. Do you have anything else, Julian, or am I just talking too much?
No, for me it's fine. Thank you a lot, man. Awesome, always.
Awesome. Well, I'm JTXRP. This is Julian, and he is as if I didn't introduce him well enough, he's the CEO of SwissTech, Tipper, and the creator of this DexMachine and DexBot. So thank you so much, Julian, and we're out.